A South Park writer just set up a website to draft Barron Trump to the war in the Middle East with Iran. And I love this. It has gone incredibly viral. It is so funny. It's draftbarrontrump.com, and it says America is strong because its leaders are strong. Trump proves that every day. Naturally, his son Barron is more than ready to defend the country his father so boldly commands. Service is honor, strength is inherited. Dog bless Barron. They also include an About Us section that says this site is dedicated to honoring the strongest and bravest voices in war. When power is projected abroad, it is only right that strength exists at home. If you're looking at proven genes, inherited courage, and unquestionable resolve, look no further than the Trump family. Leadership starts somewhere. And they accompany that paragraph with a photo of Donald Trump asleep right on the website. The website also includes some very real testimonials, such as one from Donald Trump himself. Quote, people come up to me with tears in their eyes and they say, sir, you're the strongest. Send Barron off to war. I've always been strong, very strong, stronger than anyone expected. Some say the strongest ever, and strength matters, believe me. This website was set up by Toby Morton, a South Park writer who has many other websites trolling the Trump administration. This is his latest one, and I think it is truly hilarious. So go check it out, and let's make this Draft Barron Trump movement go viral everywhere.
Yeah, this is something I could fucking get behind for damn sure. If he's gonna send our kids off to war, we ought to send his with him. Of course, we know he probably inherited the bone spurs.
Draft Barron Trump, or Draft Barron, is trending right now on X, Twitter, saying it would be a noble cause for his dad's wars. And people are saying that he should be on the front line, that if they want to go to war, that they should draft Barron, that he would be the #1 pick to head out. Barron Trump is 19 years old. He's the youngest of the Trump kids. And people are saying that if Donald Trump loves America so much and believes in his plan, his son should enlist into the military. Patriotism. Right now, there's a ton of AI videos and photos going around depicting him. People are talking about it. Draft Barron. But what do you guys think? Should they draft Barron? Does that make sense?
I thought it was so good. Draft Barron, and then it's this edited image of Barron Trump looking like a 7 or 8 foot tall man standing in the line of different American service members. And obviously, this is a reference to how tall Barron Trump is. He is like weirdly tall, weirdly taller than Donald Trump by a lot. Not that Donald Trump is a particularly tall man, but Barron Trump is like 7 feet tall. You might see him in the NBA. I don't know, but I thought this photo was so funny. Go on. You know, put on the uniform. Why not, Barron, right? Your father likes sending other people to war, not him, though. And this one from Keith Edwards, YouTube's very own, just Draft Barron Trump, getting it going on social media. Got 7,000 likes. 7,000 likes, over 50,000 views. Keith's post alone. Here's another one. Morgan J. Freeman, U.S. Private Barron Trump. This got 36,000 views. I don't know if Barron would ever make it to private, though. You can, people in the military or people with friends or family or loved ones in the military, you let me know. You think Barron Trump could become a private? I don't know. But look at him in the uniform. Why not? Why not? As I said, this is what really pisses me off. Donald Trump is perfectly content to send other people's children to war, but none of his children have ever served. Nobody in his family has even come close to touching the military. He's actually mocked the military repeatedly.
There should be a law that says if you're in the position to send our troops into harm's way, if you have a vote of any kind or any part of the decision-making process, and you support the troops going into battle, your kids have to sign up and serve.
Alright guys, welcome back once again to the channel. I hope you are doing great wherever you are watching this episode from. Now, Americans are literally trolling Donald Trump all over social media platforms by spreading the hashtag draft Barron Trump. Well, it all began with just a simple speech from Trump, as he always does. He said American soldiers are going to war with Iran, and apparently some of them will be coming back in body bags, and Americans should expect more, and it is what it is. And now Americans were furious and outraged about this. I mean, you are sending our kids to war that could have actually been prevented, and then they come back dead, and you're telling us that they are just sacrifices that you are willing to take, and that's just it. Well, why don't you send your kid too to fight for the great America? Draft Barron Trump, and he should actually be on the front line. In this video, let's watch Americans literally roasting Donald Trump by spreading the hashtag Barron Trump, and also what they had to say, and for more information about this hashtag in this video.
South Park writers just trolled Donald Trump in the most epic way by creating the draftbarrontrump.com website. Now, if you missed it today, Donald Trump responded to the death of 3 service members by saying that we should expect more casualties and it's just the way it is. But he also added that the price we pay will be worth the end result. Well, Toby Morton, who was a South Park writer, decided to respond to Donald Trump by creating draftbarrontrump.com. Now, on the website, it says, America is strong because its leaders are strong. President Trump proves that every day. Naturally, his son Barron is more than ready to defend the country his father so boldly commands. Now, understand, this is not a new phenomenon. Presidents have been trolled like this. The suggestion, anytime they send us to war, the suggestion is always send your children. When do your children sign up? But the way Donald Trump, how cold he was today in response to our casualties, absolutely warranted this response. Now, Toby Morton has done this before to Donald Trump, and you can bet Trump is going to see this and flip out.
So now that it's been confirmed that multiple American soldiers have been killed, and Trump came out to say this.
As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more.
I'd like to know when Barron is enlisting. When is Barron enlisting? I saw Laura Jigsaw Loomer cheering for the Israeli regime today on Twitter and thanking the Americans for their sacrifice. When are you signing up? Hey, Mark Levin, when are you? Well, I know Mark Levin's 150, but Mark Levin loves to talk about how we should send more of your kids to war, more of your kids to go die for Israel. So when are your grandkids going to enlist, Mark? Because of course they're not going to do any of that. Because as Trump gets up there trying to explain Operation Epstein Fury and callously just talks about soldiers dying, it's because he knows, and they all know, the rich men that profit off of these wars and deaths don't have to worry about it because it's not going to be their kids or them that are in danger.
And Barron is a meme that's been picking up popularity since the American-Israeli-Iranian war started a couple of days ago. Pretty much anyone that wants to criticize the new war that's just been started, they'll say, send Barron. But like, who is Barron and why are people saying that? Barron Trump is President Donald Trump's 19-year-old son. We didn't know at first when he was a kid, when Donald Trump was president the first time, but now we know that he is very much conservative. He watches Aiden Ross, he loves AI, he's the kind of person you cover your drink around, honestly, right? In this war of aggression that America started, Iran did not attack us whatsoever, right? And because Donald Trump wants to make this war happen for some kind of ego play, people's sons will pass away. So when Donald Trump goes on TV and says things like, these things happens in war and many patriots will lose their lives, right? People are instead saying, send Barron, right? He's the right age to get drafted, right? Plus, the Trump family has been avoiding military service for generations. Donald Trump himself famously dodged the Vietnam draft by saying that he had bone spurs in his feet. He's also quoted calling American soldiers that passed away suckers and losers, right? So that's why we are where we are in Iran, because he doesn't even really view these people as like warriors or defenders or protectors. He views them as employees, right? And if you lose your life, then you should have signed up for a different job.
If this war is so righteous, so necessary, so urgent, then why isn't Barron going? You can't call yourself the peace president while launching bombs overseas and expect people not to notice the contradiction. But this is about accountability, because when politicians want to drum up a war, it never seems to be their families boarding planes. It's working class kids, it's people who signed up for money for college. It's families with yellow ribbons in their front yard. So Americans are asking a simple question. If this fight is so essential to our safety, if it's worth risking Americans' lives, shouldn't the people making these decisions be willing to risk something personal too? For decades, leaders from both parties have authorized wars that their own children never had to face. That's not a partisan statement, that's history. And maybe the real issue isn't Barron at all. Maybe the real issue is that in America, the people who decide on war rarely have to pay the actual price. So before anybody starts waving the flag saying trust the plan, ask this: who bleeds, who benefits, and who stays comfortably at home? Because if we're going to have a serious conversation about war, we need serious conversations about responsibility. Share your thoughts in the comment section and follow me for more.
You guys should check out the website, draftbarrontrump.com. Yes, this is a real website pushing for Barron Trump to be drafted into the war that his daddy started. Now, this website has been set up by a South Park writer, but it is legit. It gives testimonials, has pictures of Donald Trump asleep, and is basically saying about the courage and strength of America is reflected in somebody like Barron Trump. And we want our leaders like Donald Trump to be willing to send their sons to war. I can already imagine Barron Trump is having his bone spurs implanted this second, because we know without a doubt Barron Trump is never going to sniff the front lines of anything. He's never going to put on a military uniform unless it is for decorative purposes only. But the website draftbarrontrump.com is up. It is real. It is running. And
Draft Barron trends across social media as Americans suggest drafting Mr. Donald Trump's son, Barron. As the war rages on, yes, war, in the past 24 hours, this is across all social media platforms. Draft Barron. Hashtag Draft Barron. Unbelievable. It's really good. It all started as the South Park writers suggested this on draftbarron.com. And this just took off as everyone's saying Draft Barron. New polling shows that 27% of Americans favor this war and 43% don't. And a new poll, according to Reuters, is that Mr. Donald Trump is too quick to pull the trigger with the military. It just shows you that Americans are not happy about this. And he also did this without congressional approval. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen if he actually is going to have to face the consequences to his actions with doing this. But let's see if the Republicans grow a spine. And with the Strait of Hormuz actually shut down, expect gas prices to soar, and we're all going to pay.
Since Donald Trump has decided that he's happy to send scores of young Americans to perish in a war with Iran, that he's essentially started to distract from the Epstein files, the hashtag #SendBarron has become a big thing on Twitter, because it's like this idea of like, okay, if you want to start a war, we should send your kids to fight it as well, actually. While I am in favor of politicians' children or family members having to serve if they're going to vote for a war, I don't believe we should send Barron Trump for that reason. I think we should send Barron Trump because the kid's enormous. If you genuinely want an effective military asset to win the war, the kid is a colossus. Send him in. Trump family has its own version of the colossal titan, and it's Barron Trump. Parachute this enormous lad, he'll need several parachutes, into the battlefield. Within 2 steps, he's already reached Tehran. A few minutes later, and this is him squaring off against the last living Iranian general. The fact that Donald Trump sent an angry mob to attack the US Capitol in 2021, January 6th, when he had this absolute unit on staff, Barron would have ripped the doors off the Capitol building to let his father in. Just note, you're like, Barron smash! I'm in favor of hashtag #SendBarron, if only because the war would be over frighteningly quickly. I'm not in favor of this war, not even remotely, okay? I don't like anyone in this war, but I want a live stream of Barron Trump storming through the Iranian countryside, kicking over tanks and small buildings. 6'8"! Send him! Just my opinion.
Guys, I agree with some of these speakers and some of these parents saying that if you are sending our kids to war, then why don't you tag your kid along to go and fight for this country? And that's actually true, because there is no way you can be commanding a war that you could have actually prevented with a simple dialogue or a simple negotiation or some simple rules or some simple policies, and then you start commanding and sending people's kids, knowing very that none of your kids, none of your family members, or none of your relatives will be affected. And when they come back after fighting in dead bags, you are saying, that's a price that I'm willing to pay, that's a sacrifice that I'm willing to take. and there will be more, and we are still going to war. This heartbreaks parents. These parents know very well that our children are serving in the military, in the air force, and our country is having a war that could have been prevented, and our president does not care because they know very well that not even the president, even these politicians who are passing these orders and these laws, who are supporting, the MAGA supporters and Trump supporters who are saying, yes, we are going to war, yes, we are America, we are making America great again. Most of their children are not serving the military. And when a country breaks into war, who are fighting? Those who are in the service, those troops are the ones who are fighting, and those troops are the one who come back dead. And when they come back, the country says that's an ultimate sacrifice. Now, this hashtag is just to remind Donald Trump that if we as parents were taking an ultimate sacrifice, why don't you tag along Barron Trump to go on the battlefield too? And because he is the son of the president, he should be on the front line fighting for great America. Yeah, that should be an ultimate sacrifice that you are willing to take. And those trolls, as people say, they are so hilarious. And I think Donald Trump, when he sees this, he's going to be outrageous. Anyway, tell me what you think about it. Tell me, what are your thoughts? Do you think that Barron Trump should be sent to war too, or he should be an exemption because he is the son of the president? Tell me what you think in the comment section. Let's share our thoughts and see you in the next video after subscribing.